sitting in lectures, I'm like, oh, this is not that interesting to me.
Yeah.
Bombshell, I actually left my job for 8 months, living in a spreadsheet in my bedroom. I was like, this is so, it's a little, I just felt like I was turning into a bit of a robot. I just didn't have a reason to not continue working. That's what it is on my LinkedIn. It's on my LinkedIn.
You look like a high school teacher.
Thank you.
No, it's a compliment. Imagine yourself going into the Midtown Mall. You're walking and walking, and you need to go into one store in that mall. Where would you go? Hey guys, welcome back to It's Okay to Be Karen Season 2, and today you have me, Karen. We have yet another special guest, and his name is Connor Shirley. He's currently working at a uranium company as a mechanical engineer in training. And before I say any further, maybe I'll let him introduce himself.
Yeah, so my name's Connor. I graduated from the University of Saskatchewan in 2022. And since then, I got straight into working in the uranium mining industry in Saskatchewan. And during my university career, I had the opportunity to do an internship with Hatch in Saskatoon. And then also spent 2 summers, one at Nutrien and the other at Canadian Natural Resources.
Nice, I love that.
Thanks.
So before we go any further into conversations, we'll do a rapid fire. So there's 2 ways we can do this. I could ask you 5 and then you can ask me 5 after, or we can alternate. So like I'll ask you 1 and then you ask me 1.
Let's alternate.
Okay.
Let's try it out.
Okay, first question. If you didn't study engineering, what would you have studied instead?
I would have been a high school teacher.
You look like a high school teacher.
Thank you.
No, it's a compliment.
Well, it's the fit. But both my parents are teachers.
Oh, nice.
So it's like in my blood.
Yeah.
I did a lot of tutoring when I was in university.
Yeah.
To kind of like scratch that itch.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely I would be high school math and sciences teacher.
Oh, I think I have a lot of questions on that, but I'll save that for the podcast.
Sounds good.
Okay, your turn.
Okay. What's your favorite color?
Oh, it changes every month.
Okay.
But currently it's blue. I
Nice.
like blue. Yes. Second question. If you could go for vacation, where would you go? No thinking.
Hawaii, because I was talking to my neighbor about
Nice.
it yesterday, and he
Nice.
sold it on me pretty good.
Good.
Yeah.
You should probably go pretty soon then.
I think I will. Yeah,
Nice.
in the next few years.
Oh, next few years. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. What's one place in Saskatoon that you'd recommend to somebody visiting?
Like a place or a restaurant?
Anything. Just like one place something you got to do in Saskatoon.
Berryborn.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
That's a classic.
Yeah. Ooh. What is your favorite place to eat in Saskatoon?
Oh, that's a good one.
You can only
Ooh.
name one place though.
Off the cuff, my family went to Taverna recently.
I've heard of that.
And it was really
place.
good.
I've never
Yeah.
been.
It's very good pasta.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
Hotel or Airbnb or tent?
Oh, okay. I've never been into a tent, but I think I would like to go into a tent. Airbnb, no, because I think I have security issue problems.
Okay.
Hotel, most likely yes, but
Right.
I think I've never tipped into the adventurous part of me, so maybe a tent.
Okay.
Okay, that was a very long answer. Sorry. Number 4. What's your favorite USask building?
Ooh. Health Sciences Atrium.
Yes.
It's just beautiful.
Yes,
Yeah,
I agree with
and
you.
Yeah, I got to spend some time studying there. Like memories wise, engineering building is undefeated.
No.
But health sciences.
Number 4.
Favorite calculator?
Isn't there only one type of calculator?
If you're
I'm not an engineer.
no? Okay.
I like
There's
those
some good calculators.
I have it. I don't have it with me, but it's a specific calculator that looks like this. It's
just
not
describe it.
graphical. Oh, describe it. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know the like model number of mine.
Oh, Casio.
Yes.
Yes, that's the
What
one.
color?
Gray.
Gray?
Yes.
And slightly purple?
no,
Like
it's
bluey purple?
no,
just
no.
gray.
It's gray and it has orange buttons on it.
Okay.
Imagine yourself going into the Midtown Mall. You're walking and walking, and you need to go into one store in that mall. Where would you go?
Eddie Bauer. I don't think they're open anymore.
Actually,
I'm actually wearing an Eddie Bauer shirt.
they're bankrupted.
Yeah,
think so.
unfortunately, I think it's all the sales. That's why I went. Yeah, Eddie Bauer clearance. It's
Yeah.
like it was 40% off. Now it's 60% off of that.
Oh. They were also, what do you call those statues? Mannequins?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you buy one?
No.
No?
What am I going to do with that?
You could interview one.
Oh, wow.
The quiet guest.
That's funny.
Yeah, they're camera shy.
Mm,
Yeah. Okay. I guess this is the last question overall.
okay.
If you could skip a season, what would you skip?
Winter.
Yeah.
Isn't that the obvious
That's a
answer?
cop out.
I just don't like winter.
Yeah.
See, I like the snow, but I just don't like the part where it's like too much snow and too much wind and I can't see anything and my eyelashes are frozen.
Right.
And I don't like that.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm a fall girly. I like fall.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. I hope you all have known Connor a little bit more now. And if you already did, doesn't matter because now you know him more.
Thank you.
Anyways, so going straight into our conversation, I know you've done mechanical engineering as your undergraduate program.
Mhm.
When you were younger, like what inspired you to get into this field?
Oh, so actually, like quick, like family background. Yeah, both my parents are teachers. My dad's side of the family is very like mechanic heavy. Like we own like my second cousins own a mechanic shop in Saskatoon, Shirley service. So like
You?
that's my second cousins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
Your family.
yeah, so like cars, mechanical stuff, it runs in the family. My dad also raced race cars for like whatever, probably 40 years, close to that, at least 35. Now my brother races. And then so anything mechanical, I always took an interest to. I have a funny story about that though, because I actually went, like when I chose my discipline, I went into civil engineering and then I transferred.
Okay.
So
How did you get into civil and then mechanical?
okay, so I originally, like when I went into engineering, so I loved my physics 30, like my grade 12 high school physics teacher, Mr. Chris Knievel.
Wow, you remember that.
Oh, he's outstanding.
Nice.
So he, made an impact on me. I went into engineering caught between engineering physics and civil engineering. Pretty big spectrum in like kind of industry there. And then so just kind of like for life balance and the ability to more easily get a job, I chose civil engineering, taking the like project management approach. But then when I was in civil engineering, I was like with all my friends. It was fun. I'm sitting in lectures. I'm like, oh, this is not that interesting to me.
Yeah.
So I just like, I was struggling a little bit. And then I remember we had some class where it was just like a whatever statics class where they were analyzing, they used gears as an analogy for some physics explanation. I was like, oh, that makes sense because it's mechanical. I was like, oh,
there you go.
There's
That's
a whole
your timing.
discipline about that.
Yeah.
So then I switched and never looked back.
So then when you switched, was that like after doing a year of civil engineer? Oh my.
Yeah, I did second year civil engineering. Like it extended my degree by a year. But I'm glad I did it. Yeah, engineering technically took me 6 years because I did second year civil and then I also did an internship.
You know, I think that's also the right way to find out what you're interested in.
100%.
Because, you know, I think until you haven't explored something, you don't know if you hate it or you like it or it's just for you or not for you, right? So I think unless you've explored something, you don't know if it's meant for you. So I think the approach that you had was the right approach. Since you've also like kind of done summer internships, I suppose, have you ever done a co-op or is it summer? Okay. Yeah,
so I did 12 months at Hatch and that was through the Engineering Professional Internship Program, which is now the co-op program. Yeah, it used to be EPIP. And I'm very glad I did it. And I did it. A lot of people do 16-month internships. I left school kind of early. Like I did a 12-month because I started in January and went to the end of December. A lot of people start in May and then go to the next September. Very glad that I did that. Like even just through the application and interviewing process with different companies, you just learn more about the industry. Like with my kind of background and connections that I had, I really didn't have any and really didn't know anybody in like mining or just industry in Saskatchewan or just engineering in general. So I was like starting pretty fresh from that. So just learning about what engineers do, what I could be doing on my internship through these different companies, even just that was beneficial. And then, yeah, I landed a job at Hatch for 12 months. And then with that, so Hatch is an engineering consultant, like a consultant company, which, yeah, like I got exposure to companies in potash, coal mining, metallurgical coal, rail, CP rail. Yeah, for potash, it was BHP, Mosaic, Nutrien, kind of the big players in Saskatchewan and Western Canada.
It's interesting that you say that because I had Donna in the previous episode of the podcast, and she mentioned how when people go for their co-op, like any kind of engineer in the College of Engineering, when they come back for their 4th year, she can see a stark difference in them. For you, when you've kind of finished your 12 months, what do you think were some of those differences you kind of saw within yourself?
So there's a lot of growth that comes with it. It also kind of reignites the fire of like your curiosity, and it's driven pretty well by like, oh, I went into that internship and I really did not know much. And this is like my last chance to learn everything that I can before I graduate.
Right.
So it's, and you go at it from a different way of, oh, I'm not just trying to finish my classes. It's like you're trying to actually learn from those classes, which should be what you do in general. But sometimes you got to play the game in university. But you come back, you kind of reinvigorated, you have some money, that helps. And yeah, you come back just kind of hungry to learn as much as you can before you graduate.
Nice. I love that. Yeah. Since you've worked in Hatch, you've worked at Nutrien and a bunch of other companies, what do you think were some of the learnings and takeaways that you've had? I suppose that when you work in different internships, because they're different industries, whether it be potash, uranium, coal, I assume that you've had different takeaways from that. So when you've kind of done your internship and when you left that internship from each of those companies, what do you think were some of those takeaways?
They kind of fall into themes. So Canadian Natural, that was my first exposure to any just summer job that's different from your usual high school student type work. And then so that was very operations focused, which like now I still kind of reference back to. So you kind of understand how, operators and operations work a little bit. I wasn't doing any engineering work, and I don't think I talked to like any actual engineers. But like you're working with the operators, you're cross shifting with them. You're actually like for that, I was monitoring oil wells and booking truckloads for produced water or for oil, and then booking contractors for certain repairs, and you're doing visual inspections on things. So for that was a very operations focused summer. Through Hatch, that was a mix of, being a consultant. That was like being a consultant in such a broad range of industries and doing work for different companies. So it's that consultant client relationship that you learn. Design engineering, gained exposure to that. But then also for about 4 months of that internship, I actually got to be seconded to a metallurgical coal mill near Fernie, BC, for tech. Now it's EVR, Elk Valley Resources. That was an experience that I like always referred to, like when I got my job as an EIT. A lot of my experiences and stories that I brought were from that site experience. And then so with that was shutdown support, and also like shutdown during their large 9M expansion project, and then also reliability engineering support. And then reliability engineering, that kind of stemmed into my last summer, which was with Nutrien. And then so that was in that reliability and asset integrity space. And then so with Nutrien, that was pretty interesting because that was with their corporate office in Saskatoon, and then going out to mine sites to complete those inspections. And then so it's that relationship with kind of corporate and site, and then also with external contractors because they use a lot of like third-party inspectors. So it was like that was I made sure to try to I was just getting whatever job I could, but I'm really glad that it worked out where I didn't really repeat a role that I was doing. It was always different, and I think that was super helpful in kind of setting me up for getting the best picture idea of what I like and what I don't like and what I want to explore more of.
Yeah, I think that's a very good perspective, right? Because I feel like when you go for a co-op, like, yes, it increases a year of your schooling, but then it makes you have a better idea of, is this what you want to do for the rest of your life, right? Or is this the kind of industry that I'm willing to put myself into for the rest of my life? So I know that you said your parents are teachers. Did you ever consider going into college of education, or maybe like going and becoming a teacher at some point?
Bombshell. I actually left my job for 8 months to go back to the College of Education.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then I returned to my work, and I'm really glad that they gave me the opportunity to return.
Nice.
But yeah, burnout's a real thing. So out of graduation, your first couple of years as an EIT are not easy. There's a lot to learn, and then also you're transitioning to a different part of your life where, like, you're kind of looking down, and if you're working at a very good company, you're looking down the path of 40 years from now, hopefully I'd be retiring, but I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life, and then, so that makes you think pretty hard of like, am I like in the right place? Am I doing the right thing? Is this fulfilling me? And then so at the time, and there were a lot of external factors at play. This was like coming out of the pandemic. A lot of people were still working remotely, and kind of social connection, collaboration is very important to me. So I found that I was kind of like living in a spreadsheet in my bedroom. I was like, this is so, it's a little, I just felt like I was turning into a bit of a robot. And there's, working in an analytical field like engineering, there is that, like, you do have to balance that so that you can be, happy and fulfilled through work, and then also like outside of work. And then so I figured this is maybe one of my last chances to, like, that I don't need a continuous salary. So then I left work. It was a big decision. Left work, joined the College of Education. I was going to have 2.5 years to get my education degree and then to become a high school teacher. So I did that, really enjoyed it. I actually did a 2-week placement in Melfort, Saskatchewan, teaching at a high school. Nice. And it was like awesome. And then I came back to the company that I work for now as a contractor just for the summer. It was really awesome that they brought me back on for a summer. And then I was back as a contractor. Things were just totally different. Like, I already have this degree. That's nice. Like, I don't have to go get a new degree. And just the work that I was doing, it felt meaningful. I actually felt like I was making a difference. I was working with great people prior, but actually, like, working with people in person, you're going out to site more often. The fulfillment stepped up, and I bought a house that summer as well. So I'm like, man, I got bills to pay now. So that it makes the money matter a little bit more. And then through that summer, I asked them if they'd be willing to extend my contract, and they did. And then I got back on as a permanent employee. And that was 2 years ago now. Yeah.
I feel like you have very supportive coworkers.
Yes.
But I wonder, like, when you left College of Education to go back to the company that you're working for, what triggered that decision to kind of go back to work and not pursue your, like, education degree?
So I was golfing at the Willows, and I ran into another, like, somebody I knew from the College of Education, and she was working there, and she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed about, like, registering for classes. And I knew that I had this email sitting on my phone, like, in my inbox. And I was like, when is it? And she's like, tomorrow. I was like, oh. So I've just been that summer I was just kind of putting it off going back to school because I was really enjoying what I was doing. And I was like, maybe I should just try to keep this thing going. So it wasn't I didn't have a strong reason not to go back to school. I just didn't have a reason to not continue working.
Nice.
So
And
like,
sometimes that's all
yeah.
what you need, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes you just need a reason to not do what you're currently doing.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Oh, and there was so much perspective gained from that. I call it my education vacation. That's what it is on my LinkedIn. It's on my LinkedIn.
Do you think you'd ever want to go back to it at some point in life? Because people say you never say never. So
yeah, like never say never.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm like really happy with my position.
Right.
And I think I've found like, and you know, as you grow, you learn more about yourself. I can be a little all or nothing. And then so like there's been a bit of a progress in learning that if there's something that's missing from my current job, I can probably like find a different position, like, you know, worst case, or just like try to like flex certain areas in that job so that I can get what's missing a little bit. And to an extent, like sometimes you got to take a leap of faith and it works out.
That's true.
But yeah, I found that like, yeah, there are, and especially now, like things are very different. So yeah, I found that a lot of the things that were missing, I can now kind of get.
You can kind of get your way through, yeah.
And your life changes like out of university as well. So like the maturing process helped that as well.
Looking back at your life, maybe all the hard decisions you've ever had to make in life, do you think there were certain role models? You don't have to necessarily name those people because I'm sure there's a lot, unless you want to. So for example, for me, it's always been like my family, my friends. Those are kind of like those general bubbles that I have. So every time I've had to make maybe certain decisions in life, they're kind of my go-to people to kind of weigh those pros and cons before I actually make the right decision for myself. For you, has it ever been something like that? And if you ever want to name some people, who do you think those people would be?
Well, it's Mother's Day. So my mom's on that list, my dad as well. Like both my parents, they're extremely supportive, and I'm like extremely grateful to have them and like so close. Like we're all in Saskatoon. Yeah, like my parents, my brother, I have a couple close friends that I've been able to use. Like, yeah, I can count on them as a sounding board. And some of them are like they're engineers now, so that helps. They kind of carry some of the thought process. Like they could break it down pretty thoroughly with me, so that's good.
Nice.
Yeah. So family and friends.
Yeah, kind of the same for me. The current company that you're working for, if you had to describe what your day-to-day kind of looks like, maybe a day in the life of Connor Shirley as an engineer in training, what would that be?
It's I wish my first, second, third year engineering student self could hear this, because like through probably 75% of my degree, I was like, what does an engineer actually does? Like, how do you fill a 40-hour work week?
Yeah.
So there's some meetings, some emails with vendors, site stakeholders. There's a lot of, there can be some individual, like independent work, like I'm reviewing drawings, completing calculations. Like actually in my job, it's quite technical. So I can be, designing a piping system, selecting pumps, sizing equipment. So that's a pretty thorough process. So you're like getting familiar with the process, and you're finding out what's out there, what's in your specs. The company that I work for, there's a lot of technical specifications that we work with, a lot of codes and standards that you need to follow. So it's reading, it's writing, it's documenting, and then collaborating, like through design meetings. Like in my role as intermediate mechanical engineer, I've kind of moved into a discipline design lead role. So some of the projects that I'm on, I'm like the mechanical representative, and then there's some other mechanical engineers and mechanical designers that I'm working with. So some of that is like, disseminating the information that I got from kind of the leads meeting to them, and then working together. Like, they have the parts that they're responsible for, that they're looking after. So yeah, there's some collaboration, there's some individual work, still a ton of Excel work. But like, and yeah, you're using some software as well. But then there's some fun, like lunch breaks I take very seriously. I do them in person. I go to the lunchroom and I visit with my coworkers.
Oh, nice.
And it's great.
Do you ever feel like there are certain good opportunities or challenges that you've gone through as an engineer in training?
I think as I progress in my career, that's the working with people and depending on people. That's a skill and an experience in itself. With my current role, like there in the uranium industry, there's like no shortage of complex problems that you're needing to solve. So that's been the biggest. I think that's been the biggest thing where, and this kind of goes to a learning that I had is like, there's so many like problems that have needed to be solved that I remember I initially looked at like, oh, that's a tough one. Like this is going to take a bit. And previously, like, I guess the lesson learned from that is that when you encounter a problem, you want to tell yourself that, oh, I don't know the answer yet. Like, I don't know, like I just haven't spent enough time on it. I haven't done my research yet. And you probably will be able to figure it out. And that's always pretty neat. But what the coolest part is when you like look back, you got to like check in and look back on like, man, I really like remember when you didn't know anything about that. And then whatever certain amount of time comes by and now you're like, oh, I actually know like a little bit about that. And then so that's super rewarding for yourself. But it also helps you communicate that to other people. That other person might not have spent the past like month stewing on that one thing at their desk. And then so that allows you to like bring it back to the core principles so that you can explain it now with this like in-depth knowledge ish. Like I'm still in EIT, but like, you can describe that to somebody who like may not have spent that much time on that. And there were some professors in university that like you can tell when they're able to do that. And some people say like dumbing it down, but like I don't know, I think it's just communicating your knowledge and understanding properly so that somebody with a different background can understand it.
I was gonna say that's a good point, right? So like giving yourself grace, like you don't know something yet, but then acknowledging the fact that you've come through a long way and then you've had growth over time. I think that's important. Speaking of that, do you think there are certain life skills, life habits that younger engineers should embrace more confidently to have a long-term success in their career?
It's okay to not know something. And it's definitely okay to admit that you don't know something. And I found myself doing this quite often where you're like, somebody's explaining something to you and you're like, okay, okay. But like, it's an autopilot response. You're like, okay, you're like noting that down. It's like, I have no idea what they're talking about, but I'm like trying to remember what I'm going to Google later. So there's, definitely admit what you don't know, ask questions, using that growth mindset of, I don't know how to do this yet. I'll like, the work doesn't get easier. You just get better, that type of thing. For me, through engineering, like in school, it's so competitive and they're so competitive and binary, where it's just right or wrong. And I think like throughout engineering, throughout your university career, and also as you work as an EIT and then eventually a professional engineer, you get to become the engineer that you want to be. And that'll be like unique to you. It's dependent on the experience that you gain and where you direct your interests and energy. And I think that's important for some students to realize, because I don't know, there's a lot of people that you can like, you'll have like classmates that you'll kind of like look up to or compare yourself to. You'll have professors, you'll have supervisors and bosses, and mentors. And hopefully those are like good kind of relationships and comparisons and things that, I want to like do this the way they do, or I want to be like them in this aspect. So hopefully those can benefit you. But ultimately, you'll be your own engineer, and I think that's a pretty powerful thing in itself. Like that's something that when I came back from College of Education to working as an engineer, I was like, I'm gonna be like I think there's some skills from that I can flex as I become, Connor, the engineer, and not just like mech eng. Like so.
That's funny. Looking at yourself maybe 5 years ago and now, the beginning of your career and now, what do you think the word growth means to you today? Tough question.
Yeah. Well, my prefrontal cortex is now fully developed, so that helps a lot. What does growth mean? There's some grace in there. There's some grace in there, and an acceptance of who you are and what your strengths are, and using those as your building blocks. And by that, I don't want it to limit what you can grow in. But you can kind of recognize what you have to start with, and kind of accept what you have to start with, and maybe what you're starting with less of, and then you can build up from there. Like you can build on your strengths. You can also build on your weaknesses. I think when you're kind of in school, just treading water to stay afloat, you really don't paint your weaknesses in a very good light. It's like, oh, I need to improve those,
Right.
and like I'm just going to lean on my strengths. But as I've seen to grow, I've tried to just find a little bit more balance. And then also like you have your strengths, and those just make what you're doing easier. And then so you can kind of lean on those when you're super busy with other stuff. Like you can lean on your strengths while you build your weaknesses. So it can help kind of round out your workload.
Now that, because you've kind of done your undergraduate program here at U of S, you're very close to your PEng. Now, when you look back at your kind of university curriculum in the College of Engineering, maybe this is a tough question, but if you were to change something, you could add, remove, not remove anything if you wanted to, but what would be, if you wanted to change anything, what do you think is something that you would want to change in the way engineers are being taught, or how they become engineers when they graduate? Like, what do you think you'd want to change?
So there's two things.
Oh, wow.
I have a clear answer.
Okay.
So the first one, and they've already changed this, is they like re-engineered first year. And the biggest thing that I think is great that they do is you pick, I think, 3 disciplines, and you spend a certain amount of time just learning about that discipline or something like that. I never did the new first year, but you gain way more exposure to what those disciplines are. Like when I was in first year engineering and about to pick my discipline, like, yeah, some of my friends were picking mech. I remember I thought, oh, mech is super competitive, I'm not going to make it in it. It's pipes and HVAC. That's boring. I don't know anything about that. Now that stuff's pretty cool. But I like really didn't know what mechanical was all about, what civil was all about, engineering, physics, chemical, all that. So I think that's great that they have changed that, because that was probably my number one argument. And the second one is mechanical engineering students should learn about pumps and piping way more.
If you were to give advices to maybe younger engineers who are currently in school right now and they will be graduating, let's say 2-3 years from now, what advice would you give them?
Probably mostly 3 things.
It's always so clear.
One, you got to formulate it. First one, try to get as much work experience as you can. And I'm trying not to like put a ton of pressure on your summer placements and blah, blah, blah. But like go to career fairs, go to like industry nights, go to mining hackathons. Just try to get as much work experience as possible, because like, as we said, that benefits you by finding out what you like and what you don't like. you learn a lot about industry. It also makes you super like marketable and hireable. 2, AI. Try to still think for yourself. Let's see. And I had a third one. I don't know if that's put yourself out there. Try to gain work experience. Try not to use AI as a tool, not as a support as much. You can use it to learn. It's very, very good with that. And I don't know if I have a third. I guess just my third is like the first couple years after engineering, just like give yourself some grace. There's a lot of adjustment that's happening in your life. You're moving from basically just multiple sprints every year to a marathon.
True.
So try to view it as that. Cut yourself some slack. There's no rush. You have your job now. If you made it through engineering, you're probably pretty high achieving. They're probably not going to fire you. So do a good job. Try to find things that you like. Try to kind of pull up those weaknesses while progressing your strengths, and ask questions. Don't be afraid when you don't know something.
Well, first of all, I'm going to say thank you, Connor, for being here at the podcast on a Sunday afternoon and making time to be part of this podcast and saying yes to this. And I know today's Mother's Day.
Yeah.
So I got you 2 gift cards, actually. One's for your mom and one's for you. So this one's from Holistic Physiotherapy and Wellness. They're
Awesome.
one of our sponsors.
Thank you very much.
And
She'll love this.
Yes, they do massage therapies, and the massager is called Ashley Preet. They're located in downtown, and they do amazing work.
That's great.
This one's Delish by Tish. The
Thank
owner
you.
is Tisha. They do cheesecakes, soups, paninis, coffees, you name it. Everything's there. I went there last Thursday. It was really good.
Awesome.
Yes.
It's great.
Yes.
My mom will love the massage, and I will love some food and tea
Yes.
at Delish.
Have you been there before?
No. But I've always walked past it. It's in a very nice location.
You've never been there?
So I've been outside of it. I'm like, that looks like a nice spot.
It's really nice inside. They have really good stuff.
Well, thank you very much. And
of course.
Thanks for having me. This was an awesome experience and opportunity to share what I've learned.
Is this your first podcast?
Yeah.
I thought you've been to more.
No, I don't.
Because you were so prepared, and I'm like, okay, he's actually thinking. He's prepared. He gives answers. There's 2 things that I want to say, and then you actually label it. So I'm like, you've been on a podcast before.
No, my that's the racing background. My brother, he's been on podcasts and he's done interviews, and my dad as well.
Did you take tips from them?
I've just seen so many of it.
Oh, okay.
So much of it. I've taken what I've wanted, sprinkled some engineering thoroughness on it, and then here I am.
See, when this is released, you have to show this to your brother and your father, and you have to ask them, did I live up to your expectations?
Right.
Yes.
Yep. Did I sell it?
Yeah.
No,
okay.
They're excited to watch.
Nice. Love that. With that being said, thank you, Connor, for being here. Happy Mother's Day to your mom, I guess, and to my mom too.
Yeah.
And if you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, you can leave it at the bottom of the podcast, and Connor and I will help to co-reply because he's an amazing guest and I'm an amazing host. And with that being said, we're going to say bye.
Bye.